Woo! That was a close one. Hi everybody. I guess this is number 2. Well, it didn't sound so great. Number 2 in a good way. I haven't even posted the first episode because I haven't had time to really sit and learn iMovie, the new version, on my computer. All of my Vlogmas was done via phone. So, you know, new tech is great, new equipment is wonderful, but it's all at once. It's new photo editing, new movie editing, new iPad. That's my birthday gift. So everything, you know, it's kind of all at once. And like I said in the last episode, which maybe you've seen by now, January is month of soccer. So it's just soccer tournaments all the time. We went to a game last night and it was freezing cold. It was maybe 40 and then it went down into the upper 30s Fahrenheit while we were watching, but it has been a week of under freezing temperatures the whole week, and we're just not thawed out. And sitting up there, I mean, we're wearing 2 pairs of pants, 2 pairs, you know what? I brought what I wear, or what I wore last night to the soccer. This isn't a good way to start. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to start over. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo, doodle-doo. Okay. Hey, everybody. No. Hi. My name's Michelle. This is my so-called Handmade Life podcast, I guess. That's the name of my blog. My so-called handmadelife.com. You can find me as My So-Called Handmade Life on Instagram, and on Ravelry, I'm Mamatronic, and on Flickr, if you do Flickr. I feel like nobody does Flickr unless they're like serious photographers, and I wouldn't say I'm a serious photographer, but Flickr kind of started everything for me with my blog and everything. So I love Flickr. This is my second episode. I have nothing planned today. It's a Friday with no plans except Citizen Kane is showing at the Classic Theater, which is this beautiful old theater in downtown Beaumont, and it's called the Jefferson, and it's where It's a Wonderful Life debuted. It's just cool to go, and I like to go and get a little box of popcorn and a peanut M&Ms and dump my M&Ms in my popcorn and mix it up and knit and watch a show. And it's old-fashioned movie seats, super comfortable. I can bring my knitting, and it's just not a big deal. There's not a huge crowd except for like kids movies, and then it's insane and it's loud with little kids shrieking, but it's going to be great. Have you seen Citizen Kane? You know how it's like Orson Welles' masterpiece, and it's a classic of theater. I saw it when I was like 17. And I watched it knowing this is supposed to be a great one, you know, a classic. And I remember being kind of bored during it. And I wasn't like a typical 17-year-old, I think. I mean, I went through this whole Meryl Streep phase where I watched all these movies a teenager might find boring. Sophie's Choice, Out of Africa, you know. I liked slow-moving shows, but something about it, I just kind of, meh. And then there's that, you know, famous phrase at the end, and I was just kind of, it's weird. This feels kind of weird, like a half-baked idea. But now, so much time has passed, I remember nothing except that infamous phrase, and I'm interested to see what adult me will think of it. Of course, adult me has kind of devolved, you know. My last Meryl Streep movie was Mamma Mia, so I don't know if adult me has any finer taste than teenage me. I think, like I said, I've degenerated a bit. But I wanted to put this up, even though I said I wanted to interact with people and comments, and then I haven't even had the first episode up to receive any feedback, if anyone had any. And I would think when you're talking about resolutions, if you weren't bored to sleep with my talk, you would think, hey, you know, that makes me think of something I want to do, and I would have gotten responses. But like I said, I'm a little slow right now. I've got stuff the time where I would do these things, where I would learn these things, is the time where I would be doing them. So I'm kind of like splitting myself between trying to keep it up, because it's kind of a goal, to, you know, with trying to learn how to do it well. So, I mean, I had all these great ideas. I used to watch podcasts and think, oh, I would like to talk back about such and such, and I would like to do this goofy thing, which I really don't have the computer skills to do. You know, these young kids making all these funny videos, and I don't know how they do it. I'm sure there's apps that make certain things, you know, easier, but anyway, I'm just here. So, soccer has been crazy. We are doing tournaments all the time, and it's been really cold. We had an unusual bout of cold this year. I mean, like, for 2 years I didn't even cover my plants, and I cover them when it gets near 35, 34. I didn't even cover my plants but one night last year. We just had a whole week of below freezing temperatures. One night I think it went to 17 degrees, which I don't ever remember happening my whole life. I'm sure it has, but I don't remember it. Not my adult life. So yeah, all the plants went in the garage. That was obnoxious. And then I pulled them out after that week, and then we just had a few more days of it. Plus, all of our schools close if it's cold, because everybody just freaks out and storms HEB and gets all the water and batteries. It's going to be cold. It's going to be mid-freezing, you know. And so we got to close the schools, you know, people running around screaming on fire. So my son was home also, and I didn't really get to do the things I was planning, but it was good to have him home, because we got to spend a little extra time around him. Anytime we can force him to spend time with us is nice. Did I say what I do? That I'm a homemaker still. Still. I'm still a stay-at-home mom. I'm fixing to have no kids at home, and I'm going to be a stay-at-home dog mom. Well, I would, if I, maybe I'll turn the camera down in a minute and show you. I've got 2 helpers here on the couch beside me. Yeah, I was a stay-at-home mom. I mean, I've had little part-time jobs here and there, but no real full-time anything since since a month before I delivered my daughter, who is now 22. So that's, I'm doing a little bit of this now because I'm filling the space. I don't know what else I'll do. I mean, if I have to get a job, I have to get a job. I'm fine with working. I just don't have to yet, so I'm not rushing into it. Yes, raising children can be work, especially if you know, take care of things around the house, make your meals from scratch, try to enrich their lives and have things to do with them, try to be active. You know, I was busy with that. So anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys about what I wear when it's freezing cold. I looked ridiculous yesterday. I had on Under Armour leggings. I had my son's warm-up pants, some he outgrew, that I was going to wear when we went hiking. Pulled them on, put big boots over it. I had Under Armour sweater, coat. My saddle sweater had unwoven ends hanging out, you know, so I had this weird fringe going. And then I made this hat a while back. I don't even know what pattern I used for this. Just basic, but it's our school colors, you know, you can see. I used January yarns. She's not dying anymore, but look, I need to trim a little pom-pom strand. I used her yarn held together with some, just some lower cost natural yarn, our white, and made a really thick, bulky, marled fan hat to wear to games. So purple and white, you know, that's our thing. And then, oh, where is it? This giant cowl. It's made with bulky yarn. I think, actually, the gray is 2 strands of Reynolds, or Plymouth something. Plymouth, no, Galway. Plymouth Galway yarn held together, and then the green is little bits of Lopi, Reynolds Lopi. And so I just saw this cowl years ago on Madewell, their website, and they had, it was kind of like this, right? It alternated between stockinette stripes and then reverse stockinette stripes. And I thought, ooh, that's cute. I almost bought it, and then I was like, that's stupid. I could totally make that. So I just knit a tube, you know. I knit a tube of stockinette stripe, and then I changed it partway around to reverse stockinette. Or maybe it's garter. Maybe I did garter here. Nope, it's reverse stockinette. And then I, you know, switched around, and then I grafted them together, which I don't even see where I did the grafting. I think I did it here. Anyway, it's a pattern online. It's my first pattern. It is nothing fancy or special. It's free. It's on Ravelry. But I was really pleased because I saw something somewhere and I was like, I could totally make that. It's the first time I actually made that happen. And I made it big. I have different versions. Some are lighter weight. This is huge and thick, and I just totally do this. Put my coat on, and then I have my hat, and then I even do this, and then my glasses fog up. Now, all you can see is my big honking nose sticking out, but it works. It keeps me totally warm. And you know what? 40-minute halves last night, and I did not get cold until 15 minutes before the game was over. Totally doable. And that's how I did it, you know. With these two knits, plus I don't have it on me, my Journey sweater, that beautiful mustard cabled sweater, and you can see it if you go to my Ravelry page for look under Momatronic. That's the one. I haven't woven in just the ends on the cuffs, which is so stupid. So yeah, that's my trick to keeping warm. For cold weather for us, a lot of you guys, you know, you're totally enduring much cooler temperatures than we are. But this is a big deal for us. So let me show you guys what I've been working on. Oh, well, I will say this. When I was doing soccer tournaments like crazy, we had one in Brenham, Texas, and that's, you know, where Bluebell is. And I think some parents went to the Bluebell factory, and everybody goes. I've never been, and I don't eat ice cream. I mean, I'm not really supposed to. It's not good for me. It makes me feel yuck. But I just had no interest in the Bluebell factory. So I went looking for yarn stores. And I didn't find anything in Brenham. There's actually a friend online, Kathy, had said that there was a fiber farm nearby, and I actually went out there. I couldn't get a phone number. They have a mill store. I wanted to go to the store, and if I could get some of their alpaca or something, I just thought it would be so cool to get like maybe a sweater's worth, you know. Sometimes when you buy from a mill store, it's a little more affordable. I went, and it was closed. Nobody was there. There was no sign of where a store was or anything. So it must be a thing that's seasonal, or you have to get in touch via email and kind of set up an appointment. So instead, I went to Navasota, and there was a store there, WC Mercantile, and it was awesome. It's a little small town. Navasota is very small. So to get the feel of it, I'm driving by myself. And there's these rolling hills, you know, because we're in that area of Texas where there's some hills and prairie, you know, grasslands, farmlands is what it is. Cows, either side of the road I can see farms, and it's beautiful. Beautiful blue skies, very cold, but nice. And there's like a cop on the side of the road with looks like a farmer. One of his baby cows got loose, and you know, they're hashing that out and talking. They've got it tied up to something, and I thought, what a great area to live in, where this is what you see on the side of the road. I definitely have a hunger to move. And if I didn't move up really north, Navasota wouldn't be bad. So anyway, their downtown is really quaint. It's a nice old town district, and we have some interesting shops. We have a little downtown around here in the Beaumont area. Each little town has one, but we don't have a lot of great stuff. We have things that stay open for a time, or else antique stores that have been there forever and things aren't moving, you know. They had some really neat stuff. I went into an antique store, and they had an artist there who was had his work and his daughter's work. Leon Collins. If you are interested, look him up. It's really neat art. Kind of African-American heritage type art, but very graphic. And I'm not going to try to sound art criticky because I can't do that, but I really liked it. And I'd never heard of him. And he was so friendly and talkative, you know, to this stranger who walked in. I'm not used to that, even though people in Texas are known to be friendly. But I really liked it. I liked his daughter's work too. And if you just, you know, look on Instagram under Leon Collins or Molly B, B-E-E, interesting, as neat. And I thought, wow, I kind of wish I had, I don't even know that I could have afforded any of his work, but I had definitely spent all of my money at the yarn store. So, W.C. Mercantile. It's a really big building. You know, sometimes old historic districts, those buildings are cavernous, and it was pretty big. They had so much. I've recently gone to the newer location for Hill Country Weavers in Austin, which is awesome. They have all of the new yarn everybody loves and is talking about, you know, Yoth, they have Woolfolk, all of that. They have a lot of great yarn selection. But as far as like books and accessories, I didn't really notice that much there, but W.C. Mercantile had a lot of stuff. They had, I'm sure other stores have these looms, but I came so close to trying a hand loom. And I was like, cannot do this. I cannot. I have a sewing machine. I need to learn how to use this sewing machine. So, I did get this bag though. It's, I don't know how you say it, Maika, M-A-I-K-A. And if you look under Maika Goods on Instagram, they have quite a bit. But this bag is cool, and I got a little button, little kitty cat button. You can see. The thing that's cool about this bag is, you know, it looks like kind of like a hobo. You know, you could put it over your shoulder here. And actually, if you extended it with a regular purse strap that's got a clip to it, you know, you could make it truly a long purse or hobo bag. When you unclip it, you can roll it up, and it can be a bucket. You can roll it down and make it a bucket if you have a giant sweater project with a giant ball of Cascade like I do. You can do this, or, you know, whatever. I'm just going to pull out some of the things that I got when I was at the store. I was looking for things that were local yarns, but everything local was alpaca. It was pretty much 100% alpaca or very close. I don't find a lot of need for that. There are no garments I want to make that need that kind of drape. No hats, nothing. I like the alpaca hat I made my husband a few years ago, but probably he would have preferred merino. So I didn't want to get alpaca. I just couldn't think of anything I wanted to knit anytime soon that had that. So I did find some locally dyed yarn. There was some yarn that they dyed there at their store. And I got this with Ellie of Skeyndir Knits, her Selbu mittens in mind. I'll just show it to you, but you know, you totally know what this mitten is. It's very traditional looking, and everybody in the world is making it, has already made it. They're really cute though. I like the ones with tonal, using tonal yarns, a mixture of tonal yarns. So there you go. So I thought these two colors, a teal and a gray, would look great. So what we have here is, I don't know that they dyed these. No, they did. They dyed them. This is from Wild and Woolly Wool Works, and I believe one of the ladies who owns the store, W.C. Mercantile, dyed this. It's a really beautiful teal color. And then this one, interesting enough, it's Alpine is the name of the yarn line, but it is from Mountain Meadow Fiber, Mountain Meadow Wool. That's a store that actually I went to when I was in Wyoming. I visited. It was one of the only knitting places I saw, and it was in Buffalo. So we stopped at Buffalo for lunch one day just to kind of see what, you know, the town the Longmire series was based on. That's where the author came from. And we went to this little fiber mill, and they had a store and really great fibers. I got a lot of things there for a good deal, a good price. So this is their alpine yarn, and the ladies, one of the women at WC Mercantile dyed it a gray. So I thought this would be a great contrast for Selbu mittens. But another Selbu mitten pattern that I've looked at, Ellie of Skandir also has these Julefeld. I don't know how you say it. I'm guessing. I don't care if I sound stupid. And it's like an image of like animals looking out of a window, and there's a winter scene. And if I were to do that, or underwing mitts, which you've probably seen the underwing mitts, I needed some fingering weight yarn, and I don't have anything in my stash that would work for that. Plus, you know, I just kind of like when I go somewhere to get, there's the underwing mitts, to get something that is kind of special, a reminder of the trip. So this is Saratoga yarn. It does not say, it's just mountain merino. It's kettle dyed. They did the dyeing there, I believe. And just an orange color, and another, it's more like a navy than a teal, but it's got a hint of teal to it. They're tonal because they're kettle dyed, and they feel real woolly. They feel like they would make a great Selbu, some sort of fingering ferrule. I mean, a ferrule project. So I don't know if this will just be the underwing contrast color, and I will use a natural yarn that I have with these. I'm not sure, because I think the orange might be a bit much as the lighter color in the mitt, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to play with. And then one more thing that they also, oh, well, no. I've never tried John Arbon yarns. This is Exmoor, it's sock yarn. It's BFL with 15% nylon, 85% BFL, and it's just a pretty mauve color. Actually, it's a lot like the color of my sweater here. This is Cafe au Lait. I knit it, it was from Holla Knits, one of their collections, spring collection. I can't remember who designed it. Yeah, I'll think of it later. This is just a really pretty yarn, and they actually had some knit up in this color, and after blocking it was super soft, so this is feels very BFL. But I don't mind scratchy at all, and it's not really scratchy, it just feels woolly, but when it was knit up and blocked, it was super soft, so I thought, that's exciting. And John Arbon is just something I always hear about. I think I read a Pom Pom article a long time ago. Someone who got a job, you know, worked there for a while in the mill, and how I just thought, that's so cool. Wouldn't that be great to just travel around and take a job like that, work for a summer or a few months, and get to know the industry? Anyway, the last thing I got was some, it's their brand, WC Mercantile, and it's called Love It Fingering. It's a really soft, 60% superwash merino, 20% yak, 20% silk. And I got 3 skeins of this. I got 4. 3 skeins. And just look at this color. It's I don't know if you can tell. Oh, my light's not so hot. It's a gray, but it's got a hint of brown in it. So it's just an unusual gray. Probably you can't see it. It's unusual, and I know gray, but I love gray. So I got that with the idea that I would like to knit Silver Mine. Silver Mine is a pattern in Appalachian knits. It's by, I don't know how to say Christina's last name. I've heard it said Danahy. Christina Danahy. I always thought it was Danae. I didn't know how to say it. But it's a really beautiful shawl. It's got little baubles. Let me find it. Appalachian knits, they kind of often use yarns that are from dyers in that area. I love the whole area. We hiked a little bit of the Appalachian Trail on one year with our kids when we went to Tennessee, and it was exciting for me. Okay, here we go. There's Silver Mine. So I just think the gray would be a really great backdrop for the baubles, the lace work. There's interesting stitches. It's pretty massive though. So I don't, normally just say, oh, I got this and then I got that. But because it's a sort of somebody's local yarn store, I just thought it was neat to show what I found. And I really didn't know what I was going to do with myself between these soccer games. I thought, well, I'll just go back to the hotel and knit. That's good, that's a great rest. But I did have a migraine the whole time, so it wasn't the relaxing. I mean, I really planned to just set up my iPad and watch Remington Steele after Remington Steele episode. Because every once in a while I like to watch that show. It makes me think of being, I don't know, in 5th grade again. Our family used to watch it, and I don't know. I'll watch it and I get this weird deja vu feeling of being a kid, and the whole family's crowded on furniture in the living room because we lived in a tiny house then. I live in a tiny house now. And everybody laughing and just enjoying it together. So it just brings back fond memories. So once in a while when I need that feeling of a family, remembering my mom and just all of us together, I'll watch it. So I was going to set it up on my iPad, kick back on the bed, and just knit all day long. But I had a migraine and I felt so pukey. I just couldn't even look at my needles a lot of the time. So I drove, and I tried to get out and walk some, and then I ended up, at WC Mercantile and got a great bag and a lot of cool yarn that was locally dyed, and all of it, other than the Exmoor, the sock yarn, all of it was actually U.S. grown yarn. So that's kind of cool. So here's what I was working on. I was going to do the Black Forest cardigan, which I showed you guys from the Woods book. I was going to do that with some Cascade 220 that I think I showed on one of my Vlogmas episodes. I unwrapped it all excited and said, Cascade! It's like a denim color. It's called Stonewash. It's a nice heathered blue. Well, a knitter on Instagram said, the yarn for the sample in wool in Woods is actually more like a bulky. It says a ram, but it's more like a bulky, and your worsted weight might not translate very well into that pattern. And I looked at it, and she was right. I don't think it would have. Excuse me. So instead I cast on for The Weekender by Andrea Mowry, which, you knit and you've got regular stockinette, but you're actually knitting the inside facing you. So then you flip it, and it's a way to knit purl stitches, reverse stockinette in the round. So I'll flip it, and this will be the outside, and there you see my slip stitch, sort of a structured slip stitch that goes all the way up the front. Helps give it a little structure. I'm really enjoying this. I did this in like a day, maybe a little more. One day of good knitting, and that's quite a bit of progress. I went through one ball of the Cascade. Just without even trying. This is perfect TV knitting, and pretty much it's just going to be this all the way up to the armhole, and then I'll divide for the armhole, I guess. I read the directions, but I've forgotten since then. Anyway, that's something that's going on for the commercial cow that Amy of Stranded Dye Works is hosting. This is one of my little sweaters quantities of commercial yarn that I have. I have a lot of, if I have a sweaters quantity, almost all of it would be commercial yarn. I usually try to save, but at this point, I bought more over the last few years when they were on sale than I can knit right away, so I really don't even have to worry about the savings, you know, just keep what I've got and use what I've got is what I need to do. The other commercial yarn, it was Cascade, that I was going to knit up. I started a test knit. And if you watched the episode 1, I think I said I'm not going to worry about deadlines and no test knitting, no nothing. Just want to be chill this year. But then Elena from Gift of Knitting Designs, she asked if I wanted to test knit something for her. And then she said cables, and then I said yes. So, and she said I could show this. So Elena designed the Heritage sweaters that I've knit. Heritage is the one with the really interesting, kind of geometric use of stitch pattern. And then Journey was the one that was super cable, the mustard sweater that I was talking about. It's just awesome. I also knit a cardigan from her. I can't think of what it was. A reindeer. It was called Reindeer. Really nice cardigan that I get a lot of wear out of because, you know, it's usually warm here. So cardigans work. Anyway, this is Cascade Eco in just a gray brown. And you can see these cables. This is 2 mornings of work. So I had like an hour. This is about 2 hours worth of work, maybe 3 hours worth. It looks really tiny, doesn't it? My gauge is, I mean, this isn't exactly gauge, but it's almost. When I block, definitely it will be. And I'm still thinking, oh, I want a big oversized chunky sweater. I want it to have like 5 or 6 inches of ease. So will this? I don't know. That's part of the test knitting process though. And also, you know, I have it on like a 32-inch cord, needle cord. So my problem in the past was that if I saw, oh, that's looking kind of small, I would loosen up, I would go to larger needles and keep going. And then when it comes off of the needles, it just falls off and it's huge. So I'm really trying to trust her directions, her pattern directions, which have always been accurate, and see, you know, what happens. But the good thing about if I am off with, just isn't this beautiful? I love this 3D cable. It is so much fun to work. I mean, that cliche, these are flying off my needles. It really is. I mean, my arms are just going on their own, and I'm, you know, getting whiplash because my needles are making this so fast. If I am messing up the sizing, like I said, it's so fast. I mean, I can just start over. I would probably, if I needed more yarn, I might, this is just I have 2 big skeins of Cascade Eco. If I need to knit larger, I would need to switch to a different color that I have 3 skeins of. I hope I don't have to do that though, because I wanted that for something else. And I don't think I would use much of the 3rd skein. But I'm definitely going to block, and this is knit a little tightly. I mean, but it's almost gauge. I mean, I knit a swatch, blocked. I know what it's going to do, so I need to just calm down about it. It's really fun to work on though. But you know, you hate the idea of wasting any time knitting and having to redo it. But I gotta say, if I had to redo anything, these cables, I mean, that's fun. This is the kind of sweater, if my daughter said, ooh, I want one, I would be tempted to make. But I just won't say it's for Christmas, right? I don't need to do that. No more nervous, last-minute, anxious Christmas knits. Speaking of Christmas knits, I spoke with my uncle today. He is getting out of the hospital, and somewhere in all the Vlogmas, I know I talked about knitting him a hat, which I did. This was a hat. I got all the way to the top, and I said, this seems so big. Try this on, to my husband. My husband has a giant head, but my uncle has a lot of hair, so it probably balances out. It was just huge on him. It wasn't tight, it wasn't fitted, it was just loose and blah. And I was like, man. So I pulled it all back. I ripped it out, and I need to start over. Actually, I thought I had cast on again. Maybe I restarted again. Anyway, I talked to him today. He's going to be getting out of the hospital soon. He's just been sick for so long, and he's older. He's in his 60s. He needs to, he needed some physical therapy and make sure he could get around well on his own, but got to knit this week for him. That's probably like a 2-night knit, watch a movie or two. You know, this is what I need to bring tonight to the classic theater, because, you know, knit and purl, it's easy. 1 rib, or it's actually 2. So, still working on that. I showed you my really cool cabled test knit. I showed you my weekender, which that I feel certain is going to be big enough. I am definitely knitting that oversized. Let me show you where I am on the Sunset Highway. I kind of put it down to finish those Christmas knits that I had, one of which I ruined, the hat. But here's where I am on it. So, you know, I've got my arms, my armhole, and about this much past the armhole. It's a little difficult to see, but I think you can get the idea of the colors. Oh, it's such a good color match. This this Digital Bath by Homespun House is so perfect a match for I Am No Bird. Just perfect. And then this blue, which I'm thinking, oh, it's Madeline Tosh Chicory, but you remember it changed. Like up here, I used an older skein I had. It was very dark. This one's lighter, but it actually works so well next to the Digital Bath. It looks like a slight color change, but I don't think it matters. So I've got a bit of wonky blocking to do there at the top. This part is coming out much better. I worried that line, there would be this line of demarcation between where it's regular stockinette, no color changes, and the yoke, and I think that came out really smooth and nice. So I'll just be aggressive blocking this. A lot of people have talked about the neck being too open, but I cannot see that happening for mine. It looks pretty tight. So really right now that's just a stockinette project. I just need to put some time into it. This is my little Fawn and the Fox wood, what do you call it, cross-section bag. So what are your first projects for the year? I showed you in the first episode that I finished my Christmas socks, Mistletoe Kisses, and I finished my little bobbins, Danny's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas socks, and hopefully today I will get those photos online. Because I mean, it's part of her cal, and I haven't really entered any finished photos, and it was a great pattern. It's probably going to be my heel flap template from now on when I knit a heel flap. And I kind of feel like I like that better, unless I'm doing cute contrasting heels and toes for a lot of the self-striping socks. So I got those done, and I'm thinking that's pretty much it. Oh no, that's not it at all. I finished something huge, and you know why I didn't see it? The reason I didn't see it is because there's this giant dog laying on it. Let me see if I can just help you see. See this buddy? Look, oh look, she has demon eyes. Her eyes are rolled back in her head. She's dead asleep because she's on my nice new shawl that's now smells all doggedy. Okay, I'm gonna fix them. I finished with these by Sylvia McFadden. So this is from Gentle Armor. A great, great pattern. Here's an up close of the stitch pattern. It's super beautiful. It blocked out great. I added one extra repeat. I will have a blog post soon when I take some pictures. I just have to feel, you know, up to photographing it. I usually wait till like Sunday when I have like makeup on and my hair's sort of kind of fixed and I'm kind of dressed nice, and I'll say, will you please take some pictures, and get my husband to help me, so it's super fast. I don't really like asking my son anymore because he'll just turn around and take weird pictures of the dogs or up his nose or something. So I thought, well, I'll wait till Sunday. But I wanted to show it to you guys. I'm sorry, I'm so thirsty all the time. I went to the doctor a while back and I mentioned how I was thirsty all the time. He's like, that sounds like markers for diabetes. He had my blood tested and everything. I'm totally fine. Just looking for a better purchase on the couch. There you go. Yeah, I'm fine. I just maybe in my head. I don't know. Plus, I'm talking a lot. I normally don't talk very much. I don't talk to anyone all day. Since my grandmother passed away, I pretty much don't talk to anyone until Sunday. Oh, I scream at those soccer games. I'm like, try to strike a balance between looking like I don't care and rooting for them and not sounding like that awful shrew on somebody's video camera, you know. Win it! Win it! You know, I don't want to be that mother. So I'm like, go Indians! Yay! You know, my son says he can never hear me. But last night he heard me. He turned around and looked at me and went, so anyway, beautiful, huh? And I think I got it long enough that I could do the cute little knot, you know, that she has. I'm not going to do it because I need to weave in ends. I mean, you can see. I love it. It's similar to the colors of my Weekender, but it's Brooklyn tweed. And you know it's special. When I showed my son, I said, it looks kind of plain, but if you look close, it's a really special yarn. And he goes, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care at all about knitting. He's like, ooh, that really is cool looking. He's kind of artistic though, so maybe, you know, maybe you can see the little tweedy flecks of blue. There's a bright blue and a teal blue. Oh, I love it. Okay, I've gushed enough. I'm going to weave in the ends and wear this tonight. Anyway, that's what I've been working on, and you know, in the pattern book, all my details will be on my blog, and that's really where I put my notes for how I knit something, the yarn, any modifications I make. That's always where I put it, because I feel like that's the final perfect thing. Photos of it being worn. I really like it if my daughter wears these things so I can take the pictures I want, just like I want them easily. Not worry with a tripod or trying to get someone else to do it. I just feel like it's the perfect finish. And then I'll have lots of links and any information on substitutions or anything that I did. So for this, I just followed the pattern, but I think I mentioned before that it looked small. I mentioned it in that first episode I taped. It looked small, and on Instagram, a friend said, well, you know, I knit 3 extra rounds, 3 extra pattern repeats because they had extra yarn. Well, I had 5 skeins of shelter for this, and I was going to end up with almost a skein extra, so I knit 1 extra repeat, and I used almost all of it. I don't have the leftover ball, but it was tiny. It was about this big. So it was perfect. Then I did block it aggressively, as it said to. It smoothed out really nice. The yarn plumped up. It's going to be like my favorite warm shawl because it is fuzzy and warm, but it's lace weight. I mean, it's a lace pattern, lace stitch, so it's not, you know, smothering. But anyway, with ease, you know, I talked on my Vlogmas about gentle armor and the concept behind her book that, you know, she's got pictures of her just with this over her, like a shield or armor of sorts. The ideal of making a shawl, something for yourself that you wrap around yourself. You protect yourself, you remind yourself that you're worthy of protection, but it also just kind of like the light shining through this. It's permeable and it lets in the things that you want to let in, you know, experience. And this is not exactly what she says, but it's my take on it. People who are good to you, their love, relationships, learning, knowledge, you know, so you don't like want to shut everything out, but it's nice to have a little tangible reminder that you're worth taking care of. And, you know, boundaries, healthy boundaries are good. And so this is like a symbol of healthy boundaries. So each shawl has a title, each pattern in it that has to do with that concept. And with ease, I believe that she mentioned some things that she learned to do that were once hard for her, that are good for her. Possibly it was saying no, or distancing herself from bad situations. I don't remember what it was. And she's learned to do it with ease. So I was thinking to myself, what is something I'm learning to do with ease, or maybe I have learned to do with ease? I have learned to say no, definitely, which was harder for me when I was younger. I definitely wanted to please people way more than I care about now. I mean, don't you want to make people happy? Don't you want to give if you're able to? I still care to do that. I mean, I would like to. I would like to just, you know, everywhere I went, everything I did something kind, something to please someone, something to give someone joy, sure. I mean, wouldn't that be a wonderful fairy tale? But the reality is we don't always please people, and sometimes we have to say no. And of course, like if it's just some opportunity to be on some committee or something, I really don't have a problem saying no now. And I know they are better off without me. I only have so much brain space open right now. And like I said, I'm getting out of this weird hormonal fog from a few years ago where my hormones were all messed up. I couldn't think straight. I really don't need to overdo it with activities that I'm involved in. That's easy to do. But you know what was really hard for me is a family member or somebody you see regularly. If they want something from me, I don't know, maybe it's just something I can't give, or it's a pass on a behavior, and it would just be easier to say, yeah, sure, whatever you say, and agree. I can't do that. So it has become easier for me to say no, to just kind of set up some boundaries, I guess. That's what with ease, knitting this, I thought about boundaries quite a bit. But another thing that's kind of the flip side to that, you know, so sure, you want to set up boundaries, but what about when boundaries are breached? What about before you have a boundary set up, you know, you've been wounded? I had said that my real New Year's resolution, the real thing I need to do, not, you know, just for 2018, but forever, I need to learn to walk away from the past hurts, boundaries being crossed. If it's just, you know, slights that someone has said that really hurt me and I took it to heart, or if it's something a little larger, I have a little bit of bitterness about a few things like that have happened in the past. And I mean, it wouldn't show to anyone but me. But I can feel it when it happens. When I think about it, just ugh. And you know how it is. You're doing something, you're minding your own business. Maybe I'm knitting or I'm driving somewhere, and all of a sudden, I think about it, and you feel this gut punch. I want to be at a place where maybe I will remember those kind of things, but with ease, I can just say, it happened. It happened. I feel in some cases, really, the ones that really hurt, it hurts because I'm seen as something I'm not. I don't believe I am. And no matter what I say, it doesn't matter. People have an image they want to see, they want to believe what they want to believe, and I can't change that. So just to learn to keep going, you know, walk away from that bitterness, set it down, don't nurture it. Don't think angry, I should have said, no thoughts like that. Just keep going and behave myself well, you know. I want to do that with ease. So I, just take it easy on myself a little, but accept that, not everybody's going to love me. So that's something this brought to mind, the pattern. And isn't it interesting to knit a accessory pattern and have it make you think of something about yourself, changes you need to make or you have made, how far you've come in being good to yourself, arming yourself with gentle armor. I think that's a really cool idea. I think that Sylvia McFadden is a pretty incredible designer and writer, definitely photographer. She's a great maker. So my gushing there is over. I think I've shown you everything I'm working on now. And I've talked to you about the things I want to knit with the yarns that I got at that little yarn shop in Navasota. I need to finish my test knit, all the commercial cowl knits. So the hat, the weekender, the test knit, those will all be for that knit along. There were some other things I could do for that knit along, but I don't know how much I will accomplish. I don't know when I'll film again. I have a mission trip coming up that I'm going to be going on in February, and I will be in South America for, like 10 days. And I don't know what shape I'll be when I come back. I really don't know what to expect. I've been to Peru 3 times before. We were in the mountains. It was very cold, even though it was their warm season. Well, one year it was their warm season. The others it was summer and spring, so it was pretty cool there. But I was part of like a medical mission team, but I'm not, a doctor or a nurse. I just helped and did evangelism and things like that. But this group is going, it's a small group. We are going to be digging a water well in a little town called the 9th of October. And it's near the Amazon. It's going to be in the jungle. And I'm not really sure. I know how to deal with heat, but it's going to be different. Like, I had no hesitations about the mountains and trouble with altitude the first few times I went. But I'm thinking now about having to, run to the bathroom at night out in the forest and snakes. So it's going to be different, definitely. I need to gear up. I need different gear for this. This is something I am going to buy from a store. I'm not going to try to make my own convertible pants or something, or rubber boots. So it's going to be muddy work, and I guess hard work, because I'm not super young. I'm pretty fit, but like all through the Christmas holidays, I've been... I hurt myself sprinting, and so I had like, a 6 to 8 week time period I set aside. I'm just going to walk. I'm not going to do any real strength training, nothing too hard. Just make push-ups, sit-ups, squats, that's it. So I'm not like in my super best shape, and everyone else going is older than me. So I guess we'll be overseeing a little bit. We'll definitely be working too, but I'm just interested to see how we do this. Anyway, I'll be getting ready for that, and I'm sure I won't have a lot of time to do this. And then afterward, I might be recovering from that, because, anytime you go to another country, there's things that happen, you get altitude issues or get a stomach bug. My doctor told me something interesting, though. He was saying to try activated charcoal. He said, anything you think you're eating that won't agree with you, follow it with 6 or 7 tablets of activated charcoal. And he said, you'll be fine. You'll probably be fine and not need to take antibiotics, because I didn't want to take antibiotics for 2 weeks. I did all the other vaccinations for typhoid and things like that, malaria. I have those pills, but I really didn't want to take antibiotics. I've been trying so hard to get my gut, healthy. And so anyway, activated charcoal. I'm going to try it, but I am bringing supercharged antibiotics in case. So I don't really know where to leave this. I don't even know how long I've been talking. I'm going to be cutting all of my I-ums. So I've shown you all the things I'm working on currently, which is really just 4 things. Just 4 things, that's all. I've shown you the things I've finished, which aren't like officially finished, but I think maybe by tonight will be. Although I know the truth is I'm going to sit in front of my computer. I'm going to get these lights put up, this camera put up, so no evidence of this shows. No. And then I'm going to sit in front of the computer, pulling my hair out until my husband gets home and says, "We gotta hurry, we're gonna miss the beginning of the movie." And you don't want to miss the beginning of a movie like Citizen Kane. I mean, what's the point if you miss the beginning? And there aren't any trailers to these old movies. Okay, there's one really dorky one about how #Beaumont is not boring, which is kind of sad. But that's about it. So I've shown you that. I've told you what I've worked on. What are your finished items, your first finished items of the year? Is there any significance to what you finished? Because my With Ease, it wasn't intentional, but it kind of is significant to me that something that's my gentle armor is already made, new for the beginning of the year. Do you have crafting goals? If you haven't seen it or commented, if you would, about some of your making goals for the upcoming year or just in general. Especially if they're like forever kind of goals, like I don't want to buy junky Target H&M clothes anymore. That for me is a forever goal. That's what I would like to do. And I keep seeing on Instagram. Instagram has been really great for my learning new sewers, new sewing patterns. And Sophie Crespi, she has a podcast on YouTube. And she is Sophie Crespi on Instagram. I'm trying to think what her YouTube podcast has a really good name. But it's just slipped my mind what it is. Let me look here. She actually sent me a bunch of good basic beginner garment sewing pattern ideas, which I really appreciated. Her Instagram is beautiful. It's under Sophie Crespi, so Sophie and then Crespi is Crespy, one word, on Instagram. And it's her sewing skills are excellent. And her first episode of her, it's Contagious Creativity. That's the name of her podcast. Her first episode was so good. In the background, she has her quilts, some of her quilts behind her. They're just beautiful. Oh man, one of these days. In fact, quilt sewing is something I could probably do right away. I know that Jacqueline of Brooklyn Knitfolk had a quilt along. I saw different people's progress. It wasn't the time for me because we had someone living with us in the room where I would sew. But I definitely want to, I want to try quilts. It's just, it's not a necessity. I don't need them. So that would truly be just for the creativity and the fun of it. But I know like right away soon I'm going to need some clothing skills. I would like to go ahead and knock out some pajamas, some basics, some tank tops, which is jersey. That might be tough for me. But yeah, Contagious Creativity podcast on YouTube. I enjoyed watching that and I hope she will keep doing it. It's better, it's more well put together than what I'm doing right now. Okay, so I told you about Contagious Creativity. What are some other podcasts that are new to you that have been coming out? There are so many, it's really hard to keep up with them all. I don't even know why I'm putting this out in the mix because I really don't have anything to teach or... No, but you know, I just like knitting with people. And there's different podcasts I watch. They don't always try to cover new ground. They don't involve tutorials. They're just interesting people. And I watch it to keep up with them. So maybe this will be the same for other people. personal goals. What is it that you would like to learn to do with ease? And what have you learned to do with ease? It's not easy when we're learning it, but now it's easy to do. Specifically, I don't know, inner stuff. Just some things I'm putting out there. If you're interested, leave a comment. If you ever were to answer via your blog or your YouTube channel, leave a link for me, please. I would enjoy that. So I'm trying to think how to wrap this up, and I really don't know. All I know how to do is like just start talking and blah, throw it out there, and then, you know I have to stop because the camera's going to run out of battery soon. So, and my son is about to get home. So, and he wants a real meal tonight. Like, we've had to eat out quite a bit with being out of town for tournaments, and he's had to eat out a lot. And then last night we did, because we were out of town for a game, and he was like, I need some real food, please. And I thought, oh, that's sweet. I'll make some chicken pho soup for you. And he's like, I could tell he was like, not that kind of real, but that's what we have ingredients for. So Vietnamese soup on zucchini needles. Zucchini needles. Oh, that would be horrible. Zucchini noodles. I have needles on the brain. Zucchini noodles. He's just going to have to deal with it, but it will be very nourishing. It's going to be bone broth, so it'll be good for him. So please leave a comment if you're interested. If you answer via your blog, or if it gets you to think. Sometimes I'll listen to a podcast and it'll make me think, oh, I'd like to do a blog post on that. If you do via a blog post, or if you have a YouTube channel and answer, please link it up in the comments. I would be really interested to hear. And if nobody does, that's fine. I enjoyed rambling to the camera. And the dogs were calm the whole time. They didn't bark. There were kitty cats right outside the window, and they didn't even notice. I'm going to go see Citizen Kane, see what I think of it this time around. I hope you guys have a fun weekend and do something interesting. Oh, and tell me if you've seen Citizen Kane, what you thought of it, because by the time this goes up, I will have finished watching it as an adult. And what did you think of this movie? Did you think it was everything it's been built up to be? I'm interested to hear. Bye.